Good morning, Steve. How are you doing today?
Good, Melanie. Happy Monday.
Thank you. You too.
Yes,
Oh, it's been a weekend. There's been changes happening again. How
it
are you
has, right?
how are you feeling about the latest restrictions, the 2-week shutdowns of some of our facilities around town?
Um, you know what? On one hand, I think it's actually a really good idea
Yeah.
um, because I get to spend time with my dogs, right? There's
Yeah.
one right here.
Nice.
But I am worried about how people are feeling mentally because you and I have chatted about this before, right? This isolation for a lot of people, I don't know is particularly healthy.
Yeah.
And so I know for me, I have to very consciously recognize the fact that I might be a bit impatient with people.
Yes.
And
Me
so I
too.
just have to be really, I have to remember that I have to have patience with others, right? That it's none of our fault. We have no control over this.
That's right.
So I think
Yeah.
that adds a lot to people's stress levels, right?
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I find that during this pandemic, I mean, all the way along, and even right up until this weekend, this announcement about the 2-week shutdown, that there there's been this splintering off into two groups. I can't say which group is the larger of the group, and I don't think they're 50-50, but there's two groups of people. One group that's very upset about what's going on. They feel like their freedoms have been taken away. Their human rights are being trampled on. They're feeling mad and hostile and angry about the bylaws and the restrictions. And then there's another group that's just kind of, you know, going with the flow and finding, well, what can I do then? And trying to make the best of a really bad situation and finding that they're coming up with creative ways to connect with each other, to nurture themselves, to to go along with what's happening with the least amount, but still some, but the least amount of um, you know difficulty and challenge.
Yeah, I think that I can see that exactly, right? And I think for me, I know I have to very consciously really work really hard at being mindful and
Yes, me too.
practicing mindfulness and the breathing techniques. So that breathing technique we did last week, I used quite a bit on the weekend
Nice.
because I knew I can feel the stress, right?
Me
That
too.
there's stress in the neighborhood, there's stress in our house.
Yes.
So it's hard to put a finger on it and a name on it, but you can feel that added stress, right? And
Yeah.
people don't like to be restricted at the best of times,
Hmm. Yeah, that's right.
right?
And
And so
especially
that's
for nine
really what
months
people's
long.
fighting about.
Yeah, that's
They're
right.
angry, not with each other, just with the circumstance, right? They're helpless.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I really want to point out today is that we tend to forget that COVID is the problem. It's a virus. It's a virus you can't even
Yeah,
see with the naked eye. And that is the problem. The problem is not with each other. The problem is not, how I do things versus how you do things, or what you have as resources versus what I have as resources. This is not a problem of scarcity. This is not a problem of competition. This is not a values discrepancy. This is just a whole world being shut down because of a microscopic little virus. And I have found, when we look through history, when we look through things that have happened in the world, well, even just here in Alberta, the fires in Fort McMurray just a few years ago, the floods in Calgary just a few years ago, when people can in trauma, when they're having collective experience of trauma, when they can come together and support each other and help each other through that experience, everybody will win in the end. Everybody will benefit in the end.
oh, absolutely. And I think the reason for that is that people are looking for something to do to make it better, right? And
Yeah.
um, during the fire in Fort McMurray, there was a lot of people donated time, money, clothing, supplies. Everyone just sort of stepped up to the plate and helped out, the
Yes.
same as the floods.
Yes.
And I think for COVID, we haven't really actually talked about how we can help each other,
Yeah.
right? There hasn't never really been any discussions on that. So people are kind of scratching their heads thinking, what can I do?
Yeah.
can I do to make this better?
Yeah.
So I think I think being kind to others and considerate and, helping out your neighbor and checking in with people, I think those tiny little things go a long way,
Yeah.
which is
So
kind of a contradiction, isn't it? Because we're supposed to isolate
right.
ourselves.
Right. So how do we do that and keep ourselves at risk or safe from any risk of additional exposure? Well,
Yeah.
first of all, for anybody who might be watching that might be thinking, well, why kindness? Like, why are we suggesting kindness in the time of COVID? Isn't this a physical problem? Isn't it a physical disease? Yes, but kindness has many, many benefits to it. And I just want to talk a little bit about that to try to convince the naysayers that may be out there. Number one, a lot of people don't know this, but being kind to each other actually makes us feel physically better. It
Mhm.
releases feel-good hormones. They've actually coined the term helper's high, so that when you help somebody, you can feel a bit of euphoria, the sense of wonderful and awness in your mind and in your body, because you've released these hormones just by helping someone. So helping others actually helps ourselves too.
Yeah.
You already mentioned that it gives us something to do,
Hmm.
especially as the lockdown decreases our availability of activities. And this weather also keeps us limited from being able to get out and, have more fun. So it gives us something to do. And it also gives us a sense of control during a pandemic where we really have little control. None of us
Hmm.
can fight the virus by ourselves. Um, just like we couldn't stop the floods, just like we couldn't stop the fires. But being kind to others gives us something to do.
Yes.
Do you know that it also raises our self-esteem, knowing that we've helped somebody? It decreases our stress and it decreases our anxiety. It allows us to connect with people, to develop relationships, maybe relationships that we wouldn't normally have been developing. So there are so many benefits to finding ways to be kind to people in our world, whether we know them or we don't know them, just ways to reach out and connect with other people. And for the real naysayer, for the one who's really skeptical, I'm going to say this: at least being kind can be a form of opposite action, which is a dialectical behavior therapy technique developed by Marsha Linehan, which
Okay.
says that whenever you have a negative response to something, like, oh, I don't want to do this, or you have a negative urge, you have an urge to yell at somebody, do the opposite action. So instead of yelling, say kind words or walk away.
Okay.
So, when we feel hostile, when we feel bitter and resentful about COVID and all the limitations it's put on our life, do the opposite action. Do something loving and beautiful for somebody else.
Good advice.
Hopefully that's convinced everybody that's watching that kindness is a good idea.
Well, I think really, people are generally people like to be kind and helpful towards each other,
Yeah.
and so maybe you're giving them an opportunity to go do that, because before people really weren't actually thinking about that.
Yeah. So, Steve, what are some ideas of ways that we can be kind during this time of needing to, social distance and minimize our time with people and outdoors? Or sorry, not
Um,
outdoors, indoors.
for me, it's reaching out to people in my network and just sitting down and phoning them up, checking in on people.
Yeah.
That goes a long way. For
Yeah,
our neighbors, in the neighborhood, I mean, when it snows, going out and shoveling other people's sidewalks.
totally.
We do that on a regular basis, right? We shovel each other's sidewalks if one of us is out
Nice.
there, right? But I think
Yeah.
that goes a long way to letting people know that you're thinking about them without actually talking to them,
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
right? And so I think, in people's neighborhoods and people's communities, reaching out to our neighbors and stuff like that, just to check in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think that goes a long way, right? Um,
Absolutely. It makes somebody's day so much brighter just knowing that they were thought of and cared for.
yeah, I don't necessarily think that we have all the answers, right?
Yeah.
This is a really big issue. We don't have any answers, but that just shouldn't have to stop us from engaging with other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really think what we need to do is really consciously focus on ways that we can reach out to people without having that direct contact.
Yes. Yeah.
whether that's just sending them a nice email, electronic card,
Yes.
how are you
Yes.
doing? Um,
Absolutely.
our neighbors across the street, her little girl yesterday brought over some muffins for us,
Yeah, nice.
right? And so, I mean, that's good that
Oh,
we're teaching our children how to do that too, right?
yeah. Yeah, the next generation.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
and
I'm
it gives those kids, the little kids, something to do too, because it's really
yes.
hard on them.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Because they need that connection so much more and they can't necessarily understand what like we do when we're not able to get it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm reminded at the beginning of the pandemic, people were putting beautiful, loving, caring phrases or pictures on their windows. I think we could go back to doing that so that as people are walking along, you know, to and from the bus stops, they're
Yeah.
seeing words of encouragement on their window. We could write little notes and paste them on our community mailboxes. You know, you got this, we'll get through it
Yeah.
together. I love those messages. It just really speaks to my
Yeah.
heart every time I see them.
Yeah, it goes a long way. It also empowers people, right? So they actually feel that they have something to contribute, something
Yeah.
of worth,
Yes, that's right.
right? It goes a
Yep.
long way to helping your self-esteem.
Yeah. You know, I found out that a couple of people that I know were positive in the last 2 weeks. And I thought about it too
Mhm.
late, but I thought about, do they need groceries? Could I go pick up some groceries for them and drop them at their front door?
Yeah,
You know, and they had family to help them, thank goodness, but some folks don't. They can't get out of the house when they're quarantining. And delivery services can be expensive. So, you know, something
expensive, and
like that.
also there's a huge waiting list too. So yeah,
Is
that's
there?
another good idea, right? If is running to the
Yeah.
store for people.
Yeah. Yeah. So takes a bit of time, a bit of thought. It takes some creativity to really know about, you know, how to reach out to people. But boy, it'll pay lots of dividends in the end. It'll be well worth your time and your energy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, why don't we do a loving kindness meditation? I think we need it today, you know, moving into
Okay.
our 2 weeks of additional restrictions. Let's do a loving kindness to not only focus on the love we have for ourselves, but for our loved ones and people in general.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds good? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to invite people to get really comfortable where they're at. Just ease into your chair, your couch, your floor, your bed, wherever you happen to be sitting. And if you like, just gently close your eyes or focus it on something right in front of you that isn't going to move or distract you. Hopefully, you're in a fairly private place that won't have too much noise. But what I always say about noise is that it just gives you more practice of mindfulness. So noise isn't such a big deal, but it can be kind of difficult. But that's the whole purpose of mindfulness meditation. So starting by just taking a few breaths, you might want to just imagine each part of your body. You might go strategically from the top of your head all the way down to the tip of your toes and just breathing in relaxation to all those different parts of your body. With every breath in and every breath out, just allowing your body to relax into the moment a little bit more, softening each muscle, relaxing each joint. If you notice any tense spots in your body, just imagine breathing into that spot in particular. And with each breath, just imagining it loosening up, softening, and gently moving into a feeling of more and more relaxation. Paying attention to your breath as it comes into your body and out of your body. You may notice the quality of your breath. Is it warm or cool? Is it soft or rough? Whatever it is, it's your experience. It is as it is. Just accepting what's happening for you in this moment. And anytime your mind gets distracted into thoughts of the present, or thoughts of the past, or thoughts of the future. Just acknowledging those thoughts and bringing them back to the breath and in this present moment. And as you're sitting here, imagining a peace washing over your body. Perhaps as you breathe in, you can imagine the breath or the air being filled with peace and goodwill and comfort. And that breath then coming into your body and filling up every corner and crevice. Imagining feeling complete peace, comfort, and well-being in your body. Embracing that feeling as it comes. Extending yourself some loving kindness by thinking about these phrases silently in your mind as you breathe. May I be happy. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I feel peace. Continuing to repeat those 4 phrases in your mind as you breathe in and out. May I be happy. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I feel peace. And then just sitting with those feelings of warmth, self-compassion, acceptance, and well-being. Embracing it fully, or as fully as you can. Then turning your thoughts to someone you know and love, someone you care about, who's important to you, and imagining them in your mind's eye. Imagining that person filled with peace and well-being and good health. And repeating the 4 phrases in loving kindness towards that person. May you be happy. May you be safe. May you feel peace. And may you be healthy. Imagining in your mind's eye your wishes for them to be safe and healthy and happy, being sent to them over the space and time and distance that you have between you. And imagining them being filled with your good wishes. Now turning your focus to someone else. It may be someone you know, not very well or just a little. Or you may be focusing on people in the world in general, people that you have seen in your neighborhood or in your community halls or grocery stores or just the world in general. Imagine that person or those people in front of you in your mind's eye, and imagine them being filled with good health, peace, safety, and well-being. And as you envision them in your mind's eye, repeat the phrases of loving kindness in your mind. May you be happy. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you feel peace. Imagine your wishes for loving kindness being sent to this person or these people and filling them up with what they need, the peace and the kindness and the health. And then finally, turn your attention towards somebody whom you may be having conflict with, somebody who you may be having difficult feelings towards, or it may be something like COVID itself. And imagine that person or that thing in your mind's eye, filling them up with peace, kindness, and love. And repeating the 4 phrases in your mind as you envision that person or that thing. May you be happy. May you be safe. May you be healthy. And may you feel peace. Imagining that person or thing in your mind's eye being filled up with your good wishes, with your loving kindness. Taking a few more deep breaths to share that peace with yourself and with others. You may want to take a few moments to notice if your breathing has changed throughout this meditation, or if anything in your body has changed or shifted for you. If it has, then notice that. If it hasn't, then notice that too. Whatever it is, whatever presents itself is your experience. And your experience is exactly the way it is. Nothing to judge. Just acceptance. And as we work towards ending this mindfulness practice, taking a few more breaths, mindfully, being aware of this moment in time, taking a scan of your body, noticing how it feels. And then becoming more and more aware of the sounds around you. Perhaps moving your body in whatever way feels comfortable. And as you're ready, opening your eyes, coming back to this discussion. During the mindfulness, your picture looked really cool, Stephen. Everything was dark around you, but there was light illuminating just your face.
Oh, that was part of the side effects that you did? It worked really well, actually. You know, Melanie, my dog Sonic, just kind of heard your voice and then kind of laid down when we were going through all that, and now she's sleeping.
Oh, so it
Well,
works for
thanks.
dogs too?
It does. It does, actually.
Oh,
That was
well,
good.
you know, Stephen, I've been having to practice that kind of a mindfulness every time before I go out, especially if I go out to a place where I'm feeling a bit more anxious, like a
Mhm.
medical appointment, or even, you know, any meeting, a bank meeting, you know, any face-to-face thing. I have to do that for myself so that the anxiety will be lowered enough so that I'm not taking my stress and my fear out on other people.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would just really encourage people. It doesn't have to be as long as we did it today. It can even just be snippets. Just, you know, grounding yourself in a loving kindness for yourself as well as for others, so that as we venture out and connect with people, we can do it with love and compassion and caring, because really that's what we need right now.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. So have a wonderful week, Steve. I hope it's filled with
You too.
loving kindness for yourself and others.
Okay. Be at
Thanks for
peace.
joining me. Yes, thank you. You too.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.